Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host, John, better known as Day Around Yak's Band. We have a fantastic show for you. Small patch earlier this week, balance patch scheduled for February 6th, and map desync issues, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He is a moderator over at MMO Champion. He started as the kid who didn't have a clue, but now he is in gold tier PvP. Say hello to Jim.
Which one was in Clue?
It was. It's the new one that's coming out. It's not the old one.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say because I remember the old Clue, and neither Reynolds nor Pratt were in that.
I think both of those ones are post production, or
Yeah.
you know.
Well, hi everybody. How you doing?
Well, as you can tell, we don't have many people here today. We're half occupancy, but that is okay because kind of have half occupancy of news. So this week we had the patch notes. It was mostly just bug fixes, world polish, small things like that. But like for world polish, fixed a bug in which announcements displayed incorrectly at the end of mount raises. Yeah, it's one of those weeks, everybody. Some big things out of it. Fractals, Captain My Trin boss fixed a bug that prevented the fractal from completing when Captain My Trin was rapidly brought to 0 health as she was unlurking. Added new unlurk locations when My Trin returns to the arena. General allied player health bars are now always visible in fractals, which that is probably the biggest thing out of it. Is they've now added health bars like while you're playing, like above your character type thing when you're in fractals. And the cool thing is they did say that this is something that they're planning on implementing in other areas of the game, and which heavily hints at raids, which I know that's a lot of people have been waiting for. Yeah,
it'll happen. It will happen in raids.
Yeah.
Honestly, having the testing in small scale content first is the best idea. And like I said, however many times on the show before, there's no test like live. So throwing it at fractals and PvP first, good idea.
Yep, cannot wait to see that and see how everybody's enjoying it. Also some bug fixes and stuff like that for raids. Hall of Chains removed the collision detection on some of the trees. Players who enter the Hall of Chains raid will perish if any of the statue events are active. The default dyes for Doom's armor skin have been updated. Who would? I'm assuming this was like a dev that was like, oh, we finally got around to it. Because if there was someone out there that was like, I'm sorry, but this is ruining my immersion, like.
I don't know. That's just got to be something that they're like, oh, we shipped that wrong. Fix it when we have time.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. Chat saying they're gonna laugh if the health bars get implemented into World v World.
Oh,
I wouldn't mind it being
God.
a toggable thing, but holy crap, if that is ever a...
I could see in your squad, maybe, but
okay, yeah.
I don't know. But I don't know if you want to see all enemy stuff. Also, yes, Mac, your immersion, it's ruined.
Yeah, and it could have been a personal thing like that they wanted to go back on, and I'm just saying it's just funny that I hope that was the reason more so than someone was like, yeah, clearly in all the press things or something like that, it showed him with this color scheme, and in the raid it's just off. Like, if someone did that, I mean, my hat's off to you, but
hats off to being able to notice it in the middle of a fight.
No, and chat's saying they've already seen pink dooms everywhere. Yeah, it's a good point now that he drops his armor.
Well, nobody wants a pink Darth Vader. Why would they want a pink Doom? Got to get the jab in with at EA with the Battlefront 2 stuff. So
yeah,
mark that off the list. Put that in the tag list, Deo.
So yeah, it just seems like more bug fixes. I know another thing that grabbed some people. Structured player versus player made minor adjustments to the Skyhammer map. So jump pads now work like jump mushrooms. Players must jump on the pads to be launched. Jump pads also now have individual cooldowns. Players must wait 5 seconds before using the same pad again. Also, the area around the Skyhammer control point has been increased, and players are also no longer able to fall off of it. And for people that aren't aware, that's literally the Skyhammer control point, like not the capture points that actually reward you the points. This is to control the giant laser. You used to be able to knock people off. I'm kind of sad that you no longer can.
As a longbow ranger, I am really sad about that change.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody with a knockback, a fear, anything, like that was part of the fun of Skyhammer.
And chat saying, yeah, there's no double jumps. You know, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's like trampolines. You kill something like that.
Okay, so specifically talking about the jump pads, having to jump on them is dumb. Putting the debuff on you that prevents you from, like, you have a 5-second cooldown from using another one, that I like. Because having to jump on them is they're not a very large radius to jump on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of awkward. I would very much like it so you could just run on top of it and have that happen.
But that's where the skill comes in. You gotta be skillful. Though with the other issues we've been talking about later, it might not be your fault if you're missing those jump pads.
A little bit, yeah.
But yeah, also the Glorious Armor box has been swapped with the Mistforged Obsidian weapon box for getting first place in the January monthly PvP tournament. So cool.
They're reminding people that those weapons actually exist.
And World vs. World emergency waypoints now last for 40 seconds. So, hey, look, World v. World update. Not dates.
Technically.
Update.
Just one update. It's there. Guys, we still care about the VW, I swear. They're doing, I know they're doing stuff with WW. I know.
I hope so.
They have a whole team for it, but this lack of communication is so bad.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
And that's always the thing. It's like that I hear not just from, Guild Wars 2 and ArenaNet, but like other companies where it's like, oh, we always hear our fans talking about like this stuff. Like, I'm sure everybody's sitting here going, what about World v. World? And they're like, oh, we're sitting on this stuff. Like, I can understand like not revealing like bigger things, but like we haven't even got like a, hey, we're working on World v. World. Like system, maybe just say systems or, something like that. But how long has it been? Didn't we say like a couple podcasts ago that it was like a year since the last poll? Like,
oh, the polls? I stopped checking the website.
Yeah, it's
not worth it. I know that, Mithrin. I know they don't want to give people false hope on things that are going on, but just kind of a, yeah, this is the thing we're working on. We're still working on it. I want to say we're at like X%, but we might hit a snag. So there you are. It's one of those things where you have to say in no uncertain terms that it is in progress. You're not entirely certain. If I say no uncertain terms, then I say uncertain. But you have to basically let people know that it's in progress. Like this is a thing that is been worked on right now. Like 2 cubicles down, there's a guy working on this right now. He's swearing at his computer. I don't know what bug he's working on, but he's really mad at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand because even in the early times, like when Colin Johansson would have his like roadmap thing, and it's like, you promised us legendary crafting, and they had to scrap it and do that stuff, and eventually we did get it, but it's like, it was a pretty choppy and bumpy road. But yeah, if I would just hear like, hey, we're looking at, redoing War v World systems or something like that. Not, you know, not saying like this is what we're like precisely what they're working, because I gotta understand, like, you know, keeping things hush hush type thing, you know, and all that stuff. But just to let us know that, you know, people like the War v World team is still breathing, like that they're still there, that they didn't get thrown on like current events or something.
The question is, how many of those things were Project Titan? Just gonna get that low blow in there right there.
Oh,
so
yeah. But yeah, QED was saying something earlier about the health bars. QED says
he wants his own.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a nice toggleable option. I mean,
I would like that. I wouldn't mind that at all.
And yeah, they, you know, chat brings up a good point. Just another excuse to not look at the bottom of the screen, which that is one of those weird things that, like, as we've gotten more into raiding and like other like harder mechanics and even open world, it requires like don't have this buff on you or don't have, you know, this mark on you, otherwise you take damage. It's like I'm spending a lot more time looking down to make sure. It's like and that wasn't what Guild Wars 2 was. Like, is that what it is now? Is now we're just looking at AI, a minimal interface that wasn't meant to be looked at.
Can I steal the buff thing as my transition into PvP talk?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I might not be stealing it. I might be corrupting that buff. Because Scourge is in PvP, man. I tried. I liked it. I don't have much practice on the transitions here.
I rolled, so that means you did it right.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So there was a big old post. It was 4 pages, which I'm going to assume is big for anything in the PvP forums, because it's still kind of dead on the official forums. But people trying to justify Scourge as balanced. Now, do I think Scourge
is popcorn?
Do I think Scourge is the problem? Not entirely. I think one of the bigger problems is condies in general, but I think Scourge was the perfect storm to make it really visible to everyone who's involved. So let me back up and preface this whole thing. So we're not getting our balance patch until February 6th. That is in the middle of the season, and they said that, you know, we talked about it last week, that they wanted to get seasons out faster, and that means they had to be okay with releasing balance patches in the middle of the season. Okay, fine. There have been 2 minor bug patches with some balance changes that they have done nothing to Scourge. For the brief time when Doomfire and Sandshades were a little bugged, where they weren't applying their condies properly, I saw far more class diversity in my ranked matches. Now it is 1 to 2 Scourges on every team. I was surprised the other day when I saw a Reaper, which is nice, but it made me think, oh, they must not have bought Path of Fire.
Or they don't have the hero points yet.
Oh, you just get it in PvP.
Oh, okay. But
you don't have to unlock anything in PvP once you buy the...
That's how much I PvP. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. So the issue is a few things. 1, Scourge class abilities, the shades. No telegraphs, instant cast, can all be hit at the same time. So, boom, you've got like 7 condi on you. Now people say, well, just don't have boons on you, and then you take out like 3 of their condi. Well, the only problem is it is very difficult to not have a boon on you from your base, just from your traits, just from fighting. You put boons on yourself from almost all abilities and all traits. Like, there's almost no... You would have to explicitly design a weapon and trait combination to disallow putting boons on yourself, which then puts you at a disadvantage. because I really doubt that any build like that would function properly. And then finally, the problem is that Scourge has Barrier, which is a fairly decent defensive cooldown. And also, they can line of sight you if you're playing a range class. Like the reason I've switched to my Ranger and I've been playing Greatsword Longbow Power is you have to spike them. Like you have to ranged spike a Scourge in order to deal with them. But they can drop a Shade on the point, run behind some boxes, and still be completely effective in dealing damage and fighting on the point. And all they have to do is peek their head around the corner, refresh their Shade on the point whenever they're done, or like whenever it expires. So the primary issue here is, I think, conditions in general. It is bunker builds that could not be pressured with straight power damage, so they needed Condi. But I think it's just gotten a little ridiculous, because as of this past week, I was, like I said, fighting 1 to 2 Scourges every match.
This just gave me a great idea. I don't know if I want to make, like, Arena, if you're listening, I don't know if I want to make Mesmers like even more desirable for people, but I think this would be fantastic for some kind of like illusions, like maybe next elite spec or something. But what if you could, like, to counteract Scourges, like this Mesmer that's great with illusionary magic could throw on fake buffs on your allies, and if someone strips it, you get, like, that person that stripped it gets that curse, like the condition that they would have applied to that person.
That's amusing. But the only problem is Zekriax, they are like Mesmers with Shatters, is whenever they use their function abilities, they apply the Scourge, the Sandshade abilities around themselves too. So one of the problems I'm seeing is like there's no melee anymore. I can't play my Warrior. I feel terrible when I play my Warrior because I get all of the Condi, and they corrupt my resistance, so my resistance means nothing.
Yeah, QED. Yeah, I'm wondering if they're done with the condition thing. Like, I'm curious if they're going to have another go at it, for February.
The problem I have is one of the things that Carl McLean stated about the changes to the corruption table is that won't affect Scourges unless they do a specific change to Scourges, because Scourge punishment abilities are literally just corrupt a boon into this. It doesn't use the corruption table.
Ooh. I'm all for giving Guardians more stuff. So, yeah, chat's saying we give Guardian Elite Specialization a condition called Judgment, a blue fire that hits targets the more conditions you are maintaining.
Oh, so like if you have applied conditions to a crap ton of people, you get hit for more damage based on what? Okay, I get that. Kind of like you have to watch the number of... But the problem I have with that, and that's a really cool thought, and I love the idea of a more retribution style. There's my World of Warcraft player showing. The issue I have with it is that is working to counter the problem, not fix the problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's not solving the baseline issue of all of the Condi in PvP. But then, there were also people complaining. It was like, well, all the Scourge really applies is a few damaging conditions. And it's the problem is like, yeah, they also apply a bunch of non-damaging conditions that eat your Condi removal. So there's that.
Yeah.
But
okay.
What's up?
No, I really had nothing to add.
Okay. But In PvP, the other the one response in this thread, and this is the reason I brought this entire rambling topic up. I didn't have much time to get to it because I only just finished reading the thread this morning. Somebody responded, and people are taking like this the binary stance of Scourge is fine or Scourge needs to be nuked from orbit, and that's wrong. I like Scourge. I like the concept behind it. I think it can work. So a lot of people, I'm assuming, are somewhere here in the middle where they're like, there's a problem. One of the things that people have said is give some kind of telegraph and cast time to the function skills, to the Sandshade skills. You have the ability to be interrupted. You have the ability for somebody to be like, oh, hey, they're doing that thing with their Sandshades. Okay, I'm going to get out of the red circle now. But that's where I'm at. Like I like Scourge. I think it's a good idea, but I think I need to scroll up into pre-show chat. But somebody in chat said that like support Condi became Condi support. Like Scourge is, when they talked about Scourge, they made it seem like Scourge was all about the barrier, and that they would do Condi as like the secondary. That's not how it worked.
Mm-mm.
So that's the problem, is make Scourge a support spec, an actual support spec. Honestly, I think the whole corrupt, like the flat out here have some corruption, I think is the dumbest thing they ever did. Zekriox, thank you. I apologize for not remembering that you typed it, but thank you for bringing that up. But the flat out, like here, you corrupt boons because you used a Scourge skill. The Scourge skills by themselves are great. If they just applied, like, not all of the conditions for corrupting, but some of the conditions that they get, I think they'd all be fantastic skills still.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what they're thinking with it. But then again, from what everybody has always told me, is that, yeah, and the thing that Mithrin said is they don't have to choose between damaging and supporting. There's no...
They can do it all and at a very good level, unlike how people used to, complain about the engineer. It's like it can do everything, but not it can't do everything tremendously. Like it can't do any of them. It's a jack of all trades, right, but master of none. Whereas this one, it's doing everything on the box. It's like
that, and like people say that you just have to range Scourges, but the problem is Sandshades have a 900 range, and the skills can be activated. They don't disappear until the Scourge goes 1200 away from it. So you can be off point, and to bring it specifically to a PvP example, you can be off point and try to pressure the Scourge off of the point with damage, which is, again, the reason I started playing my Ranger. But they're going to line of sight you, blow a defensive cooldown, and drop a soul or LOS or defensive cooldown, and then drop a shade on your location. Yes, you can, move, but we're talking, because I watch so much Mythbusters, the average human, the best case scenario for average human reaction time is about half a second. Someone drops their shade on top of you and then hits all of their shade skills. So
I don't even have to do it today. It's like I'm off. It's like, all you gotta do.
But that's the problem, is that you are suddenly crippled with a bunch of conditions, and one of their primary damaging conditions is torment. So if you try to move, you're taking more damage. And the only reason I'm using my core Ranger is because I'm using almost all survival skills, because I need the Wilderness Survival Grandmaster trait that cures me of 2 Condi every time I use a survival skill. The only problem is it also gives me Fury, which means that they just hit another skill and they corrupt a boon and turn it into more. So
yeah. And Mithrin's bringing up a good point of the kind of worrying thing is kind of how they fix skills, where it kind of comes down to slapping barrier on it, or traits upgrades, or like skill ammo type, like skill ammo for like they made those changes last time or the time before with like a lot of the guardian skills and stuff like that, and where it's like
no, they've got the tools to fix it, but it needs to be fixed. And I honestly think that it was a mistake to start the ranked season without this balance patch.
Yeah.
Because it's and then one of the other things that they brought up is that half the problem of Scourge is Firebrand.
Don't lump us in.
Well, they also said that they're working on skill splits, so your PvE and WV stuff probably won't be affected too terribly much.
It's like, don't worry, I play a very crappy probably build for my Firebrand, so don't touch it.
But the problem is that Firebrand is really good at keeping someone alive. I've watched a Firebrand and Scourge 2v5 on mid. It just didn't matter. Because you want to know that the primary way you stop a Scourge is with ranged. What does Tome of Courage have? Here's a bubble that reflects projectiles and also gives protection.
Yeah. Yeah, and like chat's even saying, and I was gonna lead more into like the balance patch, which on the forums, I believe it was Carl McLean kind of responded, originally saying, assuming that all it goes well, it will be February 6th. So it's not even guaranteed, but it seems very likely. So heck, if something goes wrong, we might not even see it this PB, or even like the tail end of PvP season. But then he later even says, and like what chat was hitting on is, they're planning on the PvP and War v World splits, changes to confusion condition, regeneration, effectiveness prioritization, boon and condition conversion table changes, and supposedly more. And they also did say there are some Mesmer changes that they're excited about and hope to talk about them more in detail. So I wonder if the Mesmer people are sweating right now, going, "Oh no, no!"
I know. QED was talking about it in chat during Zero to Hero this past Wednesday. Mesmers need it. Inspired Distortion was there was a huge amount of power that they just lost from Inspired Distortion. Just completely gone from their kit, because Aegis, we already talked about that when they made the Inspired Distortion change. Aegis is not nearly as good. So it's odd. I don't know what they're going to do with Confusion. I don't know why they wanted to change Confusion, because it seems to me like it's like it's not bad. I don't think. I don't see a problem with Confusion.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know if Mirages are suddenly throwing like more stacks than previous Mesmer builds were doing, so that's why they decided to change it. Wow, Zachriox. That's
yeah, they kind of did. They kind of
they pretty much beat the hell out of it, and it's not good anymore. But I think that's it. And to be honest, they might be planning like almost a class rework level kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, are you excited for the hopefully more PvP and World v World skill splits?
Yes. Yes, I am very much excited about that, because they have the tools to do it. All 3 game modes should be balanced separately. I know that means that they have 3 balanced sets to work with, but
I agree.
All 3 game types are different.
I mean, there are drawbacks to it. Like, people will probably always say it's like, well, it's confusing if someone tries to hop in there. It's like, But I do think for the sake of each game mode, it has to be. But yes, there are, drawbacks of it might seem more intimidating, or, I mean, even in Guild Wars 1, when you switched into one of the PvP lobby areas, it would say, in the little chat box, these skills have changed. They're still on your bar, so if you have a build that functions both in PvP and PvE, then the switches don't matter much. It's not like, hey, these skills changed, we like unequipped them. It'd be like, well, you know, at least they left them in there, like, but we're just letting you know these don't function the same.
It's one of those things where it's like the first time somebody gets into PvP, I would say just pop up one of those warning boxes that's like, hey, skills in PvP, and then the same with WW, may have different effects, along with the little thing they have in the tooltip is like, this is different for different game modes. So read your skills, read your tooltips. That's one of the biggest things I ever had a problem with when I was playing World of Warcraft is people would not read what their abilities did. People wouldn't do that after an expansion. Like giant reworks to a class, which is what World of Warcraft becomes, is it's a new game every time, basically. And people wouldn't read what their abilities do. And it's like, it's like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. So
and make it so the skills have a colored border before the start of matches in the Heart of the Mist.
I like that, actually. Have some kind of indication that the skill has changed in some way, shape, or form from a game mode that you just came from.
I think that's probably a more simpler way, because I was even thinking like how you were saying, Jim, about it brings up a window saying like skills have changed from, you know, whatever mode you went. If it could even like have like the skill that's on your bar currently, this one has like show the differences, but that might be an more easy and accessible way for them to implement it, would be to have a red box or something around it. That
see, Zekriox, that I don't know if we need more boons.
Sure, Scourge needs another thing to corrupt.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the problem I have. Like, and what would Alacrity turn into?
De-alacrity.
Well, the only thing that I think fits it is slow, but I think quickness corrupts into slow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like it feels like, and then the problem is they lose control over it as a unique buff, because then it can be affected by Tempest Earth Warhorn 4 that extends boon durations by a second or two. So it's one of anything that affects boon duration then becomes a problem with Alacrity, and then you have to balance Alacrity around the fact that people can extend boons. Chilled. Thank you.
I was trying to think of the one, because I was like, there is a condition that makes your skills longer, so I just couldn't think of what it was.
I thought it was slow. I don't know why.
You said it with such confidence. I was like, oh, it must have been that one. So I was like, all right.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where I don't think there is something wrong with unique buffs. Like, I think I like the classification of boons and conditions, and these are the more commonly applied things that are affected by their own subset of rules. And then there are unique buffs that maybe multiple professions can throw out, but that's fine. But they have much tighter control over them because they're not boons and conditions. So I don't know how Alacrity as a boon would be. I worry about it for the game. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. But, the real thing is, like, what do you think the plus more is? Like, what else? What else do you, in chat, what else do you think the game needs besides what they were mentioning, which, if you need a refresher...
Are we talking... Oh, yeah, his and more comment. I don't know if, like, QED said, that scares him, because I think he's going off of the Mesmer changes. It's like, and more, and it's just like...
Well, I don't think fishing would be in a balance update, but...
I would be totally with you. I would just fish. Zero to Hero would become, fishing with, and then I'd invite people on, kind of like Krendor did. We'd just bullshit about the game. I'd be okay with that.
I mean,
I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
lie.
you can
I,
fish in Warframe. What?
you're not gonna get me to play Warframe. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I tried. I did.
Tennis. Yeah, that's what Arena should do. Be like, we've always been about innovating. We're going back to our roots. You want fishing? F that. We're giving you tennis. Like, wait, what? I'm all for tennis. You know, screw that. Every time someone's like, we want fish, I'm like, screw that. I want tennis.
I
Gem store gear, you
okay.
know, different rackets. Oh man, I'm all for tennis all the way.
You can have an outfit that has a like you can have the tennis uniform as a new
Yeah.
outfit.
Oh my god, I need to
Do
get this one
something
because it
for
has a
that.
different colored pair of socks. Yeah. I want the different headband, and if you could tell, I haven't watched tennis in a good long time because I think I'm thinking of people from the '80s.
Polymock for our minis, yes, Wispy. That might actually get me interested in minis from the gem store.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's too early. Damn it.
So chat saying so for boons you could have enchantments for empowerments like might and fury, blessings for protections, and boosts for utility like swiftness. Same for conditions, split them into curse, hex, and snare. Yeah. Then you can control how much certain skills can affect each type.
See, part of me is like, part of me likes the complexity of that system, but on the other hand, that's how many years of game development where they just have the boon condition system, just that binary
Yeah.
with all the runes and sigils and traits and effects in the game. I
That
I
would be
don't
tough to
know
go
if
back
it's
on.
like that's an expansion level change.
Yeah, I was gonna say for a balance patch, I mean, yeah,
I mean,
it's
the theory crafter in me says, "Oh, that's really complex," and I like the idea of that. But the programmer in me looks at that and is a little scared. So, yeah, but the only problem is then, Mithrin, they would still be boons and conditions, but you're talking about having skills affect them in different ways. So you would then have to roll that into the system based on all the current content. So specifically, so let's call yeah, no, you're right. Like they can do this. Like what the thief, the daredevil dodge that does swiftness. I can't remember the name of it, and Age isn't here, so he can't help me. That removes those conditions. It removes snares. I totally agree with your terminology there. So if we're talking about just using those as labels, I'm okay with that. But if we're talking about changing skills to say, like actually changing, not just removing the, this tooltip extends these effects on the target to this tooltip extends snares on the target, that's just a tooltip change. If we're talking about adding that kind of effect in, is like Panic Strike for Thief as a trait. This effect extends snares on the target because now it just applies immob if you strike a target below 50%. Like it's that kind of thing, and they would have to figure out where those kinds of things fit. So it's a really cool idea, but it is a huge systems change to kind of integrate that into the old content and then have it going forward. And Zekriox, I'm kind of in your camp with Alacrity. Like I think it's just fine being a buff that is not in the boons and conditions setup, and I don't mind them adding more. I don't know what they like with you. I don't know what they would add. Don't make Alacrity into a buff, QED. It does not need to be a boon. No, bad. We were just talking about that.
give it to
Or are you
everybody.
talking? Oh God. Or are you talking about something that like sticks and stacks? Oh no. Yeah, you're talking about making it a boon. I can't because that would be such a giant wave of problems.
Come
I don't know. This
on,
is
it'll be
getting into a
like
ramble.
Torment. It was like Necro only, and then everybody got it.
Yeah, it
That's
would be awesome QED, but it would throw balance all over the goddamn place. But I don't.
perfect.
This is getting more into a post-show ramble, so I don't want to hold up too much here.
Um, well, I mean, yeah, we can continue the discussion of balance and what we want to see, and hopefully we see all the good things. Um, but we were talking about earlier how the whole jumping on, it was tough to jump on the Skyhammer pad, and it was like, well, it might not be your fault because apparently there's been some lately some map desync with your character. So players' positions not being sent correctly to the player game clients. Some players are farther or closer than they appear, which has made it tough for raids if due to healing and rezzing players, and maybe you thought you weren't in the bad. Like,
Minor spoilers ahead, because if you haven't finished Daybreak, I'm going to say that right now because me and my wife finished playing Daybreak finally last night, and holy balls, was it bad. So I'm going to give a few minutes there.
oh, because of the whole possible map desync.
The map, no, it wasn't possible. It was definite map desync. So I'm
Oh,
going to let
geez.
you
Yeah, I didn't even
talk,
think of that.
because I'm going to talk about spoilers from Daybreak if people haven't done it. So I'm going to give them time to filter out or to mute or what have you. So
Okay.
if you want to pop the tag up, if you got it.
Yeah, we'll put it up just in case when you start, but
I know it's
this is
been a
kind of
few
like your
weeks,
warning
so.
just in case, but it's been a good while, but yeah, I'll give you the brief on the whole map desync thing of because yeah, like Jim's saying, it's not just affecting the raid stuff, it's affecting pretty much all through the game, but the devs have responded and said we've experienced this as well. We've got people looking into this but haven't solved it yet, so they have no ETA. And as of yesterday, there was no fix yet, but engineering is on the case. And I believe they also did say if there wasn't a, because people were asking, the dev who was talking about it was, oh, why am I blanking on the name? anet_Ben on Reddit, who usually people are like, oh, you fixed this, like, or gave us this quality of life or something. Like, he's kind of been like loved by a lot of people. Like, I think he does a lot of the Fractal and Raid stuff, but I think he did also say that he's both in the design and engineering, though not directly looking into this right now, but will be providing support later next week if it hasn't been resolved yet. So, but they do apparently have some people looking at it, but he hasn't had to step in just yet. But yeah, it's kind of a big problem. But yeah, so I'm going to throw the spoiler tag up. If you're trying to avoid Daybreak stuff, it is going up now.
No, the only reason I say, spoilers for Daybreak is because I literally just finished it. It's been out for how long? I know that there are people that want to avoid that, and sometimes they just don't have time. So throughout the entire night, the only way I was able to follow my wife around is because she's a ranger and her pet did not desync. I had to follow her tiger and attack the targets her tiger attacked, and I was good.
That just sounds like an excellent game mechanic.
There was a point in time where we were in the graveyard above Champion's Dawn, where you have to do that event to clear out the graveyard in the new map. And I was watching her run into a wall and do like all of her auto attack stuff. And it was really funny. It was the Axe 5 for Ranger, which is the whirling thing. And I'm watching her run into a wall and seeing the weird dance thing they do. Yes, I was my wife's second pet, basically, Mithrin. It was weird. And I would like the weirdest thing was when we were in the pirate area in Istan, and she would go up the towers to go do stuff up on those giant bits of wooden scaffolding. Don't you clip my flailing arms, Ada, as she clips my flailing arms. But I would see her kind of clip off the ramp and just fall into the water and just kind of start swimming in circles. But her tiger would just keep going up the ramp. So I'm just like, okay, it happened again. And the spoiler part was at the end, the fight against Scruffy, where,
oh god, I couldn't even imagine.
We couldn't see where the static, like we didn't know where the static storms were. So you know how they kind of pull you around?
Yeah.
She would get downed, thrown off the platform, get back up, down, thrown off the platform because we didn't know where stuff was. Bram rezzed her twice, and then she was on the platform on her client, but she was on the lower floor of the arena on mine. So she was saying Bram just kind of kept blinking over to her and then doing nothing. It's because of the desync.
Yeah.
And it kind of ruined the entire fight, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty bad since, I mean, I think the story was pretty good for it, and like that fight's pretty bad, like tough as is, let alone you don't know where you can stand.
Like that was yes, Magnus, let's just all in chat get the rage out right now because he showed up and you let Timey get captured. She actually yelled at her monitor. The reason I usually have my wife do the instances for the story is because we both really enjoy listening to Jennifer Hale be a sassy British houseplant. So
I mean, poor Bram.
Not poor Bram. Fuck
he
Bram.
He lost both of his parents. He's moody. He's hurting, man. He's hurting. He wants to make his legend, so he's not
Yes,
forgotten.
He lost both of his parents. He says that to the orphan of 2 Shining Blade officers.
Yeah, but you didn't know him. All you got to do was meet their grave. He finally got reconnected with his mother, only to have it taken from his hands. His big lord hands.
Press F to pay respects. Thank you. But yeah, I want there to be, like, I want one of the boss fights in one of the next chapters of the Living Story to be the commander beating the shit out of Bram. I want it to he deserves it at this point because he's being a petulant child.
Oh, let's bring back what was the instance in Guild Wars 1 where you're helping Kilroy Stonekin and you go to, basically you get since every class could have every weapon, it was just if you could really utilize them. You got brass knuckles that were 2 daggers, and you just went in and started punching like the stone summit dwarves. Basically, you just get brass knuckles. You just start. You're like, it's on, Bram.
Just a bare knuckle brawl between you and Bram. I would actually love to see that for people who play Asura.
Oh, because watching Jim, that's just a horrible way to look at it. Oh, I'm never gonna be able to look at that scene the same way again. Ouch. That, like, to be fair, that would have been a great line for if you would have picked Bram for the fighting Mordremoth. Like if Air said that or something, I'd be like, dang, like right in the feels.
Actually, yeah, Mithrin, I kind of agree with that. Like, if he basically takes Kodlak Whitemane's place, and you're just like, look, we will duel. Whoever wins, kill Jormag, not kill Jormag. And then you basically just beat him into submission, and the Norn are just like, it was fair.
Ouch. So you basically want like the, what is it, World of Warcraft, the Thrall versus Garrosh kind of thing going on?
Except Thrall cheated, but okay. Yeah. a Makara.
But
Going
all right.
but that was the desync issues, and we can take the spoiler tag down because I'll be done,
Okay.
and then we
Spoiler
can just
tag
tell people
down.
to ignore chat.
But yeah. So hopefully the desync issue gets solved. Hopefully within this week. I mean, because yeah, you having the problem with the instance. I mean, it's making raids and all that stuff
I
horrible.
Didn't see any problems in PvP,
Well, that's good.
but it's not exactly a great sample size. I played 7 or 8 matches.
Fair enough.
So,
but yeah, so yeah, hopefully they get that fixed. You know what isn't desynced? Updates to the gem store. And always thank you to Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. First up, we have the Jackal Rune Gauntlets and Greaves, and they are 500 gems a piece. So they're not a set. I know they're kind of shown off there as a set, but they are 500 gems a piece. If you want both, 1,000 gems. They are armor, so you can put them out on your best design of armor, but if you do have an outfit, if you have an outfit and you prefer the outfit, do not bother because it's not like you can trade it out. But what are your guys' thoughts? Chat, do you like it? And what are your thoughts on the Jackal Rune Gauntlets and Greaves?
I was very close to just buying them, but I wanted them for my Guardian. They are, I don't know if it's my Guardian's build or what, but they are so chunky. Like these pictures, like I looked at them on Dolphy first to see if to get the turnaround and everything, but they're just huge compared to the rest of my armor, and it just looks bad. So yes, my Guardian is a human. So I can't buy them because they just don't look good.
Yeah,
I wanted to.
Like, my part of me wanted to get them because I thought it was pretty cool with kind of the runes and stuff like that. Kind of searching through that. Like, I was thinking about it for my Norn, kind of like I talked about in the past with was kind of making a Abaddon kind of a thing. So it's the sands, you could kind of work it in there, theme type thing. But my biggest problem is it's a tough sell for me at 1,000 gems for 2 pieces of armor, especially since I'm not heavily invested in the game currently. Like, that's over. Like, I could even see if it came out to 800 gems, because that's a one-time $10 purchase. So it's quicker to make that decision instead of I have to do it twice.
Yep.
But for someone that's been playing other games and not saying that Guild Wars 2 is horrible, it's just I'll gladly come back when we have another living story thing to play around in. But yeah, the current events, I did them, they aren't they aren't hugely repeatable once you kind of go through them. So it's I'm kind of on the downturn of it. So 1,000 gems is a pretty tough sell, but I do like them. So who knows? Maybe if they're not making them limited. I don't think at this moment. They're not oh, it's only up for a week. It's I don't think there's a go away timer soon yet. So maybe with the next living story, if it grabs me enough, maybe I'll pick these up. But I do like the look of them and the idea, but what's that?
Or they could fix the gem store so they could actually have more stuff on it so that they never have to take stuff off of it.
Yeah. I really need a can of worms prop.
I should. I just hit a button and it flips up. I have a Lego Mindstorms kit. I could totally do props like that with that.
There you go. Chat saying typical clunky set reminded me of some of the laystone armor stuff. Yeah, and chat was saying it
I've,
kind of worked well with the laystone armor.
yeah, Hat was saying that it looks really good with Laystone. And I guess Hat, it's just I've never had a problem with a lot of the gauntlets before. So I don't know what that issue is. Yes, but clipping and poor scaling is why we can't have armor and we get outfits.
The spaghetti code. Right there with the dragon magic. Spaghetti code. Is that where we're going to find out that dragon magic is like spaghetti code? It's the spaghetti code.
Dragon magic is fueled by the flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah,
and we are all touched by his noodly appendages.
Oh, hey now.
Actually, yeah, Mithrin, that's also another great idea. Is you can just click the item in the wardrobe and it has the little like border like in the glider or mount panel where it's just like this is a gem store item and you can click it and you can just buy it. You don't have to get an item. It just unlocks to your account.
Yeah, I'd like to, see, we said this in the past. I'd like to see a gem store revamp. I know it's difficult because it's kind of like based off of a website, so it's very limited. But I mean, I feel like something has to be done just because if people keep saying that the gem store is their backbone to making money, I've said in the past they should have one as thorough as Rifts, like where it's like.
So yeah. You say that it might be more difficult because it's based on a browser. It's not.
Oh, okay, that's usually what I've heard. I'm not that technical with it.
It's my job. Like the writing that kind of like I don't know what they have the browser coded in, but it's really not that super difficult unless the game resources aren't like the physical resources aren't there to run it. Like if whatever server gets pinged when they run the gem store from the game is bad, that's the problem. But then you just have to throw hardware at it.
Yeah.
But they need to fix the gem store because the gem store needs, if like you said, if it's going to be how they make money, they're like trying to do Walmart levels of business out of a mom and pop corner store.
Yeah. Yeah, if this is their backbone to their business, I just feel like it's a pretty weak backbone, and I'm not like trying to be rude about it, but it's just I'd like to, like I said in the past when I was making my Abaddon kind of look, I was like, well, he kind of was the depths and kind of was like the water god beforehand. I'd like to get the bubble glider to be perfect. Click on it. Oh, it's not in the gem store. Like, and I think the bubble glider was 400 or 600 gems. Like that would have been, right then and there, knee-jerk purchase to make it look pretty.
You'd have done it. It wasn't
it's
there.
Not there, and I've kind of gotten over it. But yeah, it's like I want to give you money, ArenaNet, but you won't let me. But also about giving ArenaNet money, but they'll definitely let you. These Zaitan die kits, oh boy, and thankfully, Dolphy kind of gave like a little comparison. So even though it shows the Shadow Abyss die there, that is not in the bundle. But the ones that are, the special ones that are in the bundle are the Abyssal Sea, Decay, Risen, Grave, Darkness, and Wormbone? Yeah, Worn Bone, sorry. And of course, as per usual, these Idan die kits are 125 gems each, 5 for 500 and 25 for 2500 gems. And always important to note, these aren't definitive dies you can get out of it. It's a chance, and then also a chance at regular dies you can get in the game through normal means.
So we've got black, brown, blue, black, black, and white.
No, we have Abyssal Sea, Decay. Oh, chat saying Abyssal Sea is pretty glitchy as a color. I mean,
well,
does it like actually
that,
glitch out your character? Because, I would love to bring that up for like the whole clipping thing of why we can't have nice things.
I'm wondering. Yeah, no, Ada, none of the Black Lion dies, like the unique gem store dies, can be gotten from the garden plot.
I'm loving it. Hat, I love that. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, it's pretty. And I think that was always the problem. Like, you know, we have, I forget the amount of colored like dyes we have, but it's like
A lot.
I mean, they're based off of, you know, the same color spectrum. It's like it's very hard to, you know, get so many variants out of it.
Well, I mean, it's literally just them running through the hex codes and
Yeah.
just so
But
die. Give me a count, Wiki.
I think it's like over like 400 or something by this point.
There are 536 dies available in the game. I don't know when this article was upgraded.
It's
Updated. This page was modified on the 25th of January, 2018.
So it probably includes that. So yep, that's a whole lot of dies. But,
536. Yep, the Zytan dies are on here. Actually, no, they're not. They don't have them in the little list yet,
but yeah, I'm sure I don't usually like to speak on people's behalf when they're not here, but I'm sure if Age were here and Arlie were here, I think, you know, we've always had the same sentiment, and you know, I'm sure Jim still has the same sentiment of these aren't worth it.
don't waste your money on these.
Yeah, since it is such a, you know, like a risk. It's such a gaming risk. Let's say that.
You almost did it.
But yeah, because I think it's like I always get this number wrong, but it's like from a pool of 20 dies, you have a chance at getting
25.
these six, and you know the rest are the bad ones, or the ones you not bad ones, but the ones you can normally get in game for a lot cheaper than 125 gems a piece.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't think we'll ever change our mind unless they change the way these things work. You know.
On the bright side, they didn't Destiny to us. And once you unlock the die on your account,
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah, that is a nice thing. Though, who knows? Maybe if they'll come out with the news of, hey, we're making it so when you buy these things, you can get the definitive colors. They're just charges now. Like basically Destiny 2.
Ugh. Yeah, it's still not worth it then.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the gem store, and also this week for Community Corner, we talked about it in the past. The Winter's Day zine. They actually this past week on Twitter and I believe Reddit as well. They actually showed the a screenshot of their donation to the Doctors Without Borders, and they apparently raised $2,157.13. So, you know, awesome job to everybody that worked on Winter's Day zine, and awesome job to anyone that purchased it. You know, a great charity that you raised a little, over $2,000 for, and that that will go a long way, and awesome job all around.
Yeah, definitely. I do have one more thing to add, and this is kind of in a community corner, but it's you remember champ farming?
Yeah.
Have you fought Warden Amala yet, Deo?
Warden Amala.
She's the dervish that knocks you out in the course of the personal story, or the story. You fight her as one of the events in Istan.
Yeah.
She's the legendary at the end of it, and she does the same thing that she does in the Fractal when you fight her. Yes, Kate, just like the Queensdale champ train, except people want you to extend the duration of the event so more champs spawn and you get more loot. Everybody, don't yell at people, and don't extend events just for the purposes of spawning more champions, because that's how loot gets nerfed.
Yep.
Don't.
But see, then they'll have the mentality of, well, that's why we need to capitalize it on it now before they nerf it. That's why I need to be a jerk to it. It's like, if if no one was having a problem with it, they probably wouldn't nerf it. Like, But yeah, don't.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
it's
about this, but I'm not surprised by it if that is the case that it does spawn it. I mean,
so the issue is Amala jumps around and then she'll stop and just start doing these giant AoE cleaving attacks that all have very pretty indicators on the ground. And that's when her break bar comes up. Otherwise, it's a locked break bar. And people started getting angry when people would start, actually trying to break her. And apparently the map consensus is you don't start trying to burn the boss until 2 minutes are left in the event.
oh boy. I mean,
Yeah.
the only nice thing I could say is at least it's not like the Risen farming thing where it was forcing people to fail. But yeah, this isn't good either. Like,
Yeah.
and like Chat's saying, it's gonna be like Tequatl where it's like no loot from any of the mobs, just the final chest. It's like,
I will say there are some champions that like there's a champion Earth Elemental that spawns early on in the fight. Kill it because it does a crap ton of like large, wide knockbacks. Okay, fine. You're doing the mechanics of the fight. You're taking care of an ad. But yeah, it's just I like that, Mithrin.
I would say Mithrin, I kind of like that idea of working like a buff system of maybe the faster you get it, like maybe the end chest it'll like reward you with a multiplier. Like maybe during that fight, like say if you break the break bar like under a certain time, it gives you a multiplier for your loot afterwards. Like you have a better shot at better loot. So it's incentivizing people not to be like how Jim's saying in this situation, don't touch it till 2 minutes. It's like that's not dynamic, that's not interesting gameplay.
Oh yeah, Zekriox, you talk about that. Me and Deo and Tavik and Red Wolf, during the days of the Frostgorge farm, were the ones that showed up at the end of the Night of Fractals, and like we popped in, like I think we had done dungeons or something, and we popped in, and we were right there. The event was going on, and people started yelling at us, and we're just like, "Well, you're yelling at us, so now we're just going to finish the event chain." So.
Well, I was gonna say I think it was we came out of a dungeon and someone was trying to do the living story portion where you have to get to that one area, and like people were purposely failing it, and like one of our guildies said that in chat or something, and I'm like I'll be right over, I'll fight. And like I think
we all just showed up and we're just like no, we're going. And, it's like the dumb thing.
If somehow, I mean, I'd laugh Arena banned us for that, but if somehow we get shunned for that, all I was doing was helping a guildie with their living story thing. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
I don't see how we could ever be banned for like
playing the game.
An event.
Like I said, if it did, I would be more ashamed of them for doing it. But yeah, Yeah, and like I started chat saying it earlier, reminds me of like what was it, the map meta for AB? What's the hot map?
Arathi Basin?
Yeah.
I'm not Arathi Basin, sorry.
See, this is the problem I'm having, because AB I think of because that's been ingrained in my head as well. So I'm like, is it AB? Like I'm so horrible with all the
Auric Basin.
Auric Basin.
Basin.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like people are loving, the new map for like looting. Don't be rude about it. Like you'll still get great loot, but it's just, I guess people need to maximize their time and eventually ruin the game for everyone. Because yeah, they're gonna nerf it and then no one's gonna go there. So good job on you. You got, instead of 2 blues and a green, 2 greens and a rare. Great job, guys. Like,
hey, nobody click that link that got posted. Deo, can you nix that?
Oh, okay. I don't like how I am doing the skill 5 on the meteor and no one shows up anymore. For which part? Wait. But, well, actually, we can talk about that kind of stuff because we're kind of trailing off. But, yeah, honestly, in the end, just be the good community that, you know, everybody praises us for. Don't be a jerk. But yeah, that is it for this week. So Jim, where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at MalfanusMMO. You can also find me here on twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a Zero to Hero PvP night. Gold 3.
Nice.
Full actual game into it. So I'm not like, I might lose 30 points on a loss, but I hope not. So I'm actually a solid Gold 3 player right now. So who knows? Maybe I'll hit Plat this season or next, or Diamond, or whatever it is for the next rank.
If you hit Plat, can you come in with like the spinner chains and stuff? Be like, yeah, like I don't know, like the ones like the rap. I'm thinking like Flavor Flav style, like have like a giant clock, but just made of like, I mean, of course, fake platinum, because what? Okay. Well, fine then. You can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. I've been heavily playing Warframe. If you haven't noticed from pre-show, if you're here live, or my little comment to Jim if you're just watching us on YouTube. But yeah, do stick around for, we're gonna do a bit of an after show. But if you are watching this on YouTube, try to make it out for the live show. We do a pre-show and after show that we go up twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. If you are watching on if you are just popping at the very end, we do highlight this on Twitch. We also do throw it up on YouTube. Just search Talking Skritt. We're usually the first one that pops up. That goes up on Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And I would like to thank this week, oh boy, lots of people. Oh boy, this is going to change and I know it. Moonkiller NV, Maple Syrup and Beers, Host of Ascalon, 7-Bit Brian, Aurora Peachy, That Chevron, Jaibu Cool, Sundara, Serene Virus, SOTD_podcast, and Crescent QT. Thank you for the host this week. And as always, we'll see you next week and see you in the game. Good night, everybody.